morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight with your award-winning host, Dale Davidson. Dale interviews fascinating guests from top-ranked celebrities to people just like you who have an important story to tell. For more than 15 years, Dale is broadcast every week from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. He finds the people who really make Las Vegas a one-of-a-kind city and lets the world know just what's happening in this remarkable town. You'll discover why 50 million people visit the entertainment capital of the world every year. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of Las Vegas Tonight.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Boy, are you going to be glad you tuned in today. We have a superstar. His name is Santino Virga. He came down from Canada. Well, he's got a house here too. But we're so happy to have him here on Las Vegas Tonight.
So happy to be here, Dale.
And
so
he told me I can call him Sonny.
Yes.
He says
all
his
my
friends call him
do.
Sonny.
Yep,
and
right. Yep.
we decided we're friends.
You betcha.
So that's a great thing. Thanks for coming down.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. How long have you had a home here?
Going now, we had, from our first one to this one, about 7 years now.
7 years? Yeah. And do you like Vegas?
I love Vegas.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's,
I heard a great
my heart
story.
is
Rick and Terry, who pre-interviewed you yesterday, were just amazed about your Canadian story, and then we'll dial back and talk about your early life. But tell us about your very first tryout, your audition here in Las Vegas.
Oh,
it's a great story.
Yeah, that was in 1993. I was a wedding singer before all this, so
just like the movie.
Exactly.
The movie is about you.
Like I was saying, yeah, it is. It's about me. He looked like me. Everything. But it was. I played the weddings in that for years since I was a little boy. 11 years old I started. 12 years old I had my first gig, and then anyway I did that for so many years, and then came 1993. I finally decided. I said, you know what, I used to watch the Dean Martin specials and all these things, you know, and Vegas was always like in my heart.
It was magical.
Yeah, and we came here in the 80s, and I said, I want to play in Vegas one day.
Yeah.
And so I decided, I said, you know what, I'm going to start a new group, and I picked up a bunch of guys, and I said, look, this is what I want to do. I want to go to Vegas, and I want to play in Vegas.
Really a show band. And
so, but the way it all worked out was nothing was there. There was no gigs. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
And so I says to them, we're going to go on a hope and a prayer, really. And so we put together this band. Time was going by, and they wanted to play in Edmonton. They said, well, why aren't we playing here? Because I said, if we start here, then we're never going to get out of here. We're going to be here. This is not where I want to be. I want to be in Vegas.
Yeah.
So I held up. And finally, in those days, like I said, there was no internet. There was none of those. You can search hotels and that. So I ordered a phone book from Vegas. And they arrived, and I started going through all these hotels, and I seen Palace Station.
Right.
They have a showcase.
Oh, okay.
They used to have a showcase.
An open mic.
Yeah, open mic every Monday.
Oh, okay.
So I said, well, I'm not going to say nothing right now to the guys. At first, I'm going to phone them. So I called there, and his name was Roby. I don't remember his last name, but I called there, and I said, excuse me, I said, I have a band, and I know you guys have a open mic, you know, showcase every Monday. He said, yeah, every Monday night. He says, well, when do you want to come? I said, well, we can be there 2 weeks, I said. He said, okay, so where are you guys coming from? I said, Canada. He said, what? I said, well, I'm in Canada. He said, you want to come all the way here and play for nothing? He said, you know we don't pay. I said, no, I understand that. I said, so he says, well, okay, if that's what you want to do, okay, we'll schedule it in for in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I went back to my guys, and I told them, I said, you guys, I said, we're going to Vegas. And they thought, oh, all right. Well, we went. I said, in 2 weeks we're going. And I went and I bought a van, a 7-passenger van, like the pacemaker van.
Oh, okay.
And a trailer and everything. So as we got closer to the departure, someone came to me, and I don't remember who it was, but someone came to me and they said, you better be careful. I said, why? He says, because if you go across the border, you know, you gotta have you better explain to them why the paper, why you're going through. You're gonna be 7 guys, you know, in a band with all the gear.
Yeah.
So I said, oh my God. So I phoned back again to him, and I says to him, to Roby, I said, can you draw me a paper, please, and make something fax me something and say that I'm coming there and doing a showcase, and that's it. So the plan was, we go there, we're gonna only do two nights, go do the night, get there the night before, play that night, and go the next day, leave.
Right.
I had the papers all ready, and we started to drive, and we go, and we get to the border. We get to the border, and it's the American border.
Yeah.
And so the guy says, we're still in the van. He says, passports, please. So I give the passports. He said, where are you guys going? I said, Las Vegas. For what? I said, we got to go play there. Put the van over there, he said, and come inside. Oh, I said, okay, whatever.
Okay.
So we went inside. We all went inside, and he said, so where's the paper? So I give him the paper, and he says, you're going there for free?
Yeah.
I said, yes, we're going there. I said, for what? He said, I said, because I want to hope one day somebody, or that day somebody's going to see me and see what we can do, and maybe we can get some work. He said, okay, I got to check it out. Then he went in the back. I think he phoned.
Called his boss.
Then he came back. He came back in, and he says, you're doing this. He said, I tell you something. He says, he got the passports out. He got the stamp. He started to stamp every passport. He says, you know what? Go knock them dead, you guys. And it was like, oh, thank you
that's
so
a
much.
nice story.
It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
That's a nice story.
So we arrived in Vegas. I'll never forget it, coming down from the 15, because if you take the 15, like I was saying to them, you take the 15 and it'll take you straight to Edmonton. It's one road.
Oh, is that right?
It's the same
I didn't
highway
know that.
all the way. We're straight north from here. Yeah.
Wow.
And so as we come over that hill coming in, you see the lights. Oh, we were so excited. But I had no idea where's the Palace Station. Nothing.
Right.
So we found it. When we seen it, oh my God, this is awesome. We went back. We went the next day to play. We performed, and the people went crazy.
They loved you.
They loved it. They absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, we all had long hair. We were playing rock. We were doing what they do today here.
Right.
We were doing in 1993, where it wasn't allowed here. You know, like
Vegas wasn't like that.
No,
then.
it wasn't. But we were ahead of our time.
Yeah.
And so I performed, and at the end of the show, it was 45 minutes that we played, and people were like, oh, they were clapping, they loved it. So I came down, and I see one guy came to me, and his name was Ollie LeMay. And he approached me, and he says to me, you guys are really good. He said, where are you from? I said, Canada. He says, Canada? He came all the way here from Canada. Where else are you playing? I said, nowhere. I said, we're going home tomorrow. They thought we were crazy. They said, these guys are nuts. They're coming all the way here for nothing. People are all asking me, when, you know, people are, where's your next show? Where's your next show? In Canada. That's right. So
get on the 15, drive till you hit Edmonton.
Exactly.
You can watch my next show.
Exactly. And so they, he says to me, you see that guy over there? And he was sitting at the bar, he by himself. He was having a drink. He says, see that guy there? He said, yeah. He says, I think that guy's somebody. You better go talk to him. I said, me? Go talk to him? He said, yeah. I said, okay. So I went there. I went to this man, and I says, hi, how are you? And he says, I'm fine. His name was, he told me his name. His name is Don Tunnel, which he's my manager still to today.
Is that right? Wow.
And I says to him, nice to meet you. I said, did you enjoy the show? He said, yeah, it was good. He says, he gave me his card, and I said, oh my God, he is somebody here.
Yeah.
You know, I was hoping, kept looking all over the place, hoping somebody would see.
Came.
And why I came. And it's like God planted him there for me, really. And so I said to him, well, what do you think? You think we can? He said, well, you know what? He says, you can, if you guys stay another week, come back next Monday, He said, I can bring my video camera and we'll shoot a video and we'll see where it goes. I said, another week. I said, and we were staying in Continental Inn, I think it was called, really old hotel. And we had 2 rooms, 7 guys. And I brought my cousin from Italy, the poor guy. And he says, look where you take me to Vegas, and I'm the worst place in the world here. He said, I got to sleep on the floor. Because we took the mattresses.
Welcome to Vegas.
Yeah, we took the mattresses off, and 2 would sleep on this side, 2. It was nuts. So I said, how am I going to tell those guys we got to stay another week?
That's
so
funny.
I went back in backstage. I said to those guys, hey, I met this guy. I said, oh, that's great. What? I said, he wants us to stay another week. We can't go home and come back. They'll think we're really crazy, right? I said, so why don't we, let's
find a way to stay here.
Stay it, put the money in. We're going to put all money in and stay. And we did. So he says, go buy some suits, go do this. So we did everything he said.
Yeah.
We rehearsed in the room. We were doing all
little choreography.
Yeah, all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we came back, and that Monday he brought his camera. He brought everything, and what happened? We played. People went even more crazy.
They loved you.
They loved it because they told their friends that we were going to be there. So more and more people were there.
Yeah.
And so it ended up beautiful, beautiful night. I still have that video too.
Do you really? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I have that video. And so then he took the video. So I went back down. I said, okay, Don, what do you, I'm expecting he's going to tell me when I'm going to play.
Yeah.
I said, so what do you think? He says, okay, go home. He said, then we'll see what happens. So
I'll call you.
And we were like, oh my God, this is it. Like, all this work we did, we stayed extra. You're not even telling us what's going to happen. But he was smart because he didn't want to promise anything, right?
Yeah.
Get your hopes up high, and then nothing happens. Then what, right?
Yeah, sure.
So we went home.
Yeah.
3 months later.
That's what it takes, though.
Yeah. 3 months later. Yeah. I mean, and we were rehearsing. He was sending us medleys to do, and everything had to be on a certain time and all that. And we did everything he said. And then finally, after 3 months, my guys were saying, look, we either going to play or we're not, he said, because they have to work.
Yeah, we're going to make a living.
We got no money. You don't want us to play here, and you want to play over there, but there's no jobs. We're not getting called. Well, right at that time, like God said, now, call him now. And I got the phone call.
Yeah, wow.
And I get the phone call, and it was Don, and he said, you want to go to Reno for Hot August Nights? I said, well, I didn't know.
That's a big deal.
Yeah,
Hot
it
August
is.
Nights. Yeah.
I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
He says, you want to go?
Festival, yeah.
I said, sure. I said, we'll go. I said, that's why I'm waiting for 2 weeks at in Sparks. It was called Silver. I don't remember the name, but it's a hotel there.
Right.
And, we get there, and they loved us. And they said, okay, Blood, Sweat, and Tears is coming in 2 days outside. We want you to open up for them.
Wow.
And so
that's not nothing.
Yeah, and we went, we did that, and the story was the sound man came to me after the show because the people went crazy.
Yeah.
And he came to me and he said, you know what? He said, I want to talk to you after this show. But he looked like it was kind of like he was mad or something. Like, oh my God, what did we do? We did something wrong. But the people, they all loved it. They were all screaming and everything.
Yeah.
So after they play Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I want to come and talk to you. I said, okay.
Yeah.
So then he came and he says to me, afterwards, he came back after the show and he says, hey, I got to tell you something. He said, I've been working for years as the sound man for these guys. But you know what? You guys just about blew these guys away, he said.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. He says, and yeah, I'm not happy with that. He says, but I am. I just wanted to tell you in your face what. And I thought, oh my God, thank God, because I was worried about something else.
Yeah.
And that's how it went. And then we just kept going. He kept phoning me and giving me more and more work. Go to Wendover, Nevada, from there to Casper and the Denver, and that's where the start was from there. And that's how I
story.
began in Vegas. Then I came back in 1993. In 2001, I came back.
Yeah.
Because after that, I performed all over the world. I performed in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Thailand. I went everywhere. Then
Wow.
and then I said I want to go back, and I came back, and I stayed here for 3 more years.
And you were working?
And I was working, yeah. I did the Stratosphere. I did I did Caesar's Palace. I did Aladdin. Yeah, I worked.
Those are good times.
Yeah, and then I kind of got tired of it. Just certain things, and I said that's it. And then I went on the cruise ships.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Sure.
And I want to skip back a little bit to your early years, because you have a really interesting backstory.
Yep.
We're going to be back with Santino just in a couple minutes. We'll be back. Bye.
Tanti viaggi rimandate già, valigie vuote di un'eternità, quel dolore che non sai cos'è, solo lui non ti abbandonerà mai. Oh mai. È un rifugio quel malessere, troppa fretta in tuo crescere, non si fanno più miracoli, adesso non più. Non dare a quelle bambole, non toccare quelle pillole, quella suora ha un bel carattere, ci sa fare con le anime. Ti darà gli occhi miei per vedere ciò che non vedi, l'energia, l'allegria per strapparti ancora sorrisi, per dirti sì, sempre sì, e riuscire a farti volare dove vuoi, dove sai, senza più quel peso sul cuore, nasconderti le nuvole, quell'inverno che ti fa male, date le ferite poi qualche dente in più per mangiare.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you didn't watch segment 1, rewind and watch it, because it was a great, great story. Santino's with us. I call him Sonny. He's a terrific singer. He's an opera singer. He's a show singer. He's a pop singer. He's everything. And he's sung all over the world. We're going to get to all that in just a minute. Thanks once again for coming on, Sonny. We appreciate it so much.
My pleasure.
You had a great story in the first segment. Let me rewind just a little bit to your childhood. It's very interesting. You grew up in Sicily.
No, I grew up in, my mom and dad are from Sicily.
Ah, that's right.
And my father was working in Paris. And when they got married, they moved to Paris. And they stayed there for a year. Then I was born.
Right.
And then my mom's family kept saying, what are you doing over there? We're over here in Canada. Come over here, come over here. So she convinced my dad, and they ended up moving in Canada, in Edmonton.
All right.
And I was only 3 months old.
Oh,
So
okay.
That's how that...
But you consider yourself to be a Sicilian, don't you?
Of course, yeah.
Because
full bred.
It's the blood.
It's the blood. My mom and dad. I mean, and we spoke Italian in the home because my parents never spoke English. They didn't know any English when they came.
Yeah.
And so Italian was the language that I was brought up with, and that's why I speak Italian.
Yes.
And
so you're and you're fluent. You're fluent in it.
You very, yeah. That's all we spoke in the house. And then slowly, when I went to school, I started to learn English. My mom started to learn English. My dad, and then my other family members, my sister, and that she spoke English.
Right.
But because that was already way after they came, so they already were speaking English, and then. But with me, it was always Italian.
Yeah, you've been back to the old country then?
All the time. We go every couple of years.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
I have all my family is there, like big family there. I probably have of just cousins alone, just spread in Sicily, maybe 60.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah!
Wow, that's wonderful.
Quite a bit of. It's a big family.
Yeah,
big family. I love it.
What's Edmonton like?
Edmonton is cold.
It's very cold,
Very
isn't
cold.
it?
It's a pretty city. It's nice in the summertime, but the winters for me, what, I've been there all my life, and
Sure.
I'm pretty much done. When
I
you
can
get
understand
to the
that,
minus
yeah.
40, minus 30,
Oh, yeah.
it's
yeah.
too much. And,
Yeah.
and so finally now my wife is going to retire. We're going to move here and do 6 months here and then 6 months back.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your wife, Teresa.
Teresa,
Right?
yeah.
You've got a sweet story about her. Why don't you tell us a little bit about
Okay.
how you met, phase 1 and phase 2?
Okay. Like I told you,
Yeah.
when they made the movie The Wedding Singer,
Right.
it's pretty much the story of my life. And it's pretty similar to how he had that girlfriend and she was a caterer. And my wife's father was a caterer. And she
Okay.
worked for her dad too. So it's kind of like weird. And I played weddings. I played weddings since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And so how that happened was Teresa's mom needed a babysitter because they had this restaurant catering business, and so she was small. She was 4 or 5 months old, and so she wanted a babysitter. And one lady told her, she said, "I know an Italian lady that lives just down from where they had the restaurant.
Right.
Go there and
Right.
see if she can maybe babysit her." So she came and knocked on the door. In those days, you were knocking on the door. There was no cell. There was not. And she said to my mom, "Excuse me, but do you babysit?" And my mom said, "Well, I have one little." She was doing somebody from before. She says, "Yeah, I can." She says, "I have my daughter. Can you babysit my daughter?" And my mom said, "Sure." So she started to babysit her.
Right.
And eventually, she grew up, 1, 2, 3 years old. She would call my mom. And I would get upset. That's that's not your mom. That's my.
You're jealous.
You know,
yeah.
So and then slowly, and then I was told that they were always telling me that when you were small, but I was 4 years old and she was 1, 2, and so I always would say, one day I'm going to marry this girl. One
Really?
day I'm going to marry this girl. Yeah. So my mom babysat her for about 4 years, and then. They stayed friends. We stayed friends, but we lost connection. Like really, we would see them maybe once a year or whatever.
Yeah,
but
that happens.
I really never seen her anymore. I never seen my wife anymore. So I said, okay. Then it was I was supposed to perform. Now we're going way ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
I was supposed to perform at this. They have a dance that they did, the Italian community.
Okay.
And they canceled this dance.
How old were you then?
I would have been 19, 18,
yeah,
19.
18,
Yeah,
19. Yeah, okay.
And so I said, okay. I was upset. I stayed home. My mom went to this dance that my mom and dad, they went to this dance they called the Reginetta, which is, it was a soccer club.
Oh, okay.
That they have.
Yeah.
And they crown a queen. Every year they do a queen to represent the soccer team of Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
So I said, and so my mom called me and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm ready to go to bed here." She said, "No, you got to get up and you got to come over here to this hall." I said, "For what?" She said, "Teresa's here." I said, "And?" And she said,
Teresa who?
No, I knew already that Teresa. But she said, Teresa's over here. You got to come. She's already one of the runners up. I said, "I don't want to go." I said, "I'm tired. I don't want to go. I'm upset." And then, "Come on, you got to come. You got to come." Okay, so I put the suit on and I went. And I got there and they were just they had them all lined up on the stage. I still remember, like I can see it. And they had them all lined up. There was, I think, 8, 9 girls.
Right.
And when I went there, I said, I look at her, and she had the blue ribbon, and I said, "Wow, is that her?" Because I never seen her for
years.
For
now.
years.
Yeah.
Wow, I said, "That's."
You were captivated.
Girl. I said, "That's a beautiful girl. If that's her, oh my God!" And then she won. They gave her the thing. They put the crown on and everything. And my mom said, "Go talk to her." I don't know if I want to talk with her. I don't.
You're a little nervous now.
I was nervous, right?
Yeah.
So then I went. I went and I says, "You remember me?" And she goes, "Of course I remember you." And then from there, I took her out on a date, and we dated. Her mom was strict. Oh my God!
Be back by 9 and
oh, she had a bell.
Oh,
She had a belt. Her mom had a belt. I still have that belt. I still have it. Rest in peace. She had a bell, and the bell was, she would go like this, you know, every time when she wanted us to leave, right?
Right.
She'd go, "Ting-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling," and it'd be like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I'd come over, we were downstairs, and I hated that bell because that bell...
That you had to leave.
It was, and when that bell goes, you got 2 minutes to be up the stairs, and outside you're done, right?
Yeah.
But the sweetest lady, and my father-in-law and her mom and dad were just
wonderful people.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And so then we got married.
Yeah.
We got married young. I was just turning 21. She was 18.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we had our kids. We got 2 beautiful boys, and we have 4 grandchildren now.
Congratulations.
But I knew my wife from when we were little, and I have still, you know, the old Super 8 reels and of us playing together. And
that's a great story.
Yeah.
That's a great story. Now, you ended up working together in the wedding business?
And
is that what
I started my first business very young. I was 17 years old. I opened up the first video store in Edmonton.
Is that right?
One of the first ones. There was 2 of us. Yeah, one of the first video stores in Edmonton, and I kept that for 3 years. Then I opened a music school.
Wow!
And from the music school,
you're only like 20 years old then.
Yeah, I'm about 22. I'm not that old. And I opened up this music school. And from the music school, before we got married, if I can tell you, before we got married, my wife said to me, she said, "Okay, we have to go buy the flowers. We got to go get an invitation, all this."
This is for your wedding.
For my wedding.
Yeah.
Our wedding. And I said, "You know what? We don't need to go to the flower guy." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I'll do the flowers." I said, "I've done enough weddings in my life to see all these weddings. I know how to make I can see the flowers. Oh, let me do them." She thought I was crazy. I've never touched a flower in my life. Right? No, I never. And that's another blessing that, you know, like, I'm serious. I've been so blessed, like, on a lot of things that I do. I don't know how, but they just come to me, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, "Let's go buy those flowers and watch, and I'll make them." So she went and bought, they were all silk flowers. And I said, "I'll start with yours. I don't want nobody around." And I went downstairs and
making her bouquet.
And I made this huge bouquet.
Yeah.
Big. And all of a sudden, I bring it up and she says, "Oh my God, that's beautiful." I said, "You see, I can do it." So I started making bouquets.
Right.
And I thought, I'm going to call the guy in the Italian radio station where I had my advertisement for the music school.
Right.
And I said, "We're going to put those flowers and sell flowers." So I started selling flowers at the music store. And I had guitars and stuff all hanging in with the bouquet. And people would come in and go, "What is this place? Like, is it a wedding store? What?" Right? Honest to God.
You want flowers? You want a guitar?
Yeah. And then I started selling. And I started selling all these other little trinkets, the bomboniere, which is like a gift they give you when you go to the wedding. And I started selling all these, and pretty soon that place turned into a wedding store from a music school. I said, "We got to get out of here. We have to go open another store." And so that's when she stopped the bank, and she came and worked at the wedding store. We opened up on top of her dad's catering business, and we had that up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you talk about God-given gifts, and I want to talk about your singing, which you've really never had any lessons, have
Never
you?
in my life.
And the Lord just tapped you on the forehead and said, "You're going to be a great singer."
Yeah.
Tell me about that and how you feel about the Lord's intervention in your career. I've
had many experiences of the Lord actually telling me, "I'm proud of you. You're doing what I made you to do."
Yes.
And just by, you know, there's signals that you get just from people.
Yeah.
And when you can do something for somebody, there's a story I can tell you.
Sure.
When I was performing on a cruise ship, I'll never forget this one. And I was up there and I was performing, and the lady would come in with this boy on a wheelchair and bring him in and put him in front of the stage.
Right. Yeah.
And he would have like the front seat. And she came in a couple of times, this boy, and I just see him, you know, but he wasn't. He was motionless, and I never really paid attention. So, okay, well, and I would sing, and the mom would clap. And so what happened?
He was stoic, though. You couldn't see anything.
He was just, he was 15, 16 years old boy, but just like, doesn't do nothing. Just stay on the wheelchair. So one night I see him there because he came every night. And I said to the mom, I said, bring him up here. I stopped the song. I said, bring him up here. We're going to sing with him. And she picked up the wheelchair. They brought him next to me so I started singing. I think it was My Girl.
Yeah.
And so we go on with the song, and I start singing to him, and come on, I can't remember his name, and I'm calling him, and he starts to move, and he starts to smile, and he starts moving his hands like this. I said, come on, clap for me, clap, and he's doing this, and I said, good, can you sing? And I tried to put the mic to him. He didn't sing, but he was like with the smile.
Yeah.
Well, what happened? His mom, I could see her in tears, literally crying.
Yeah.
After the show, she came to me. She said, do you know what you just done? I said, no. She said, you just made my son do all these things. He hasn't done any facial expression, nothing, no movement, not at all, since he was a kid.
Oh, my Lord.
And I said, are you kidding me? She said, no.
Wow.
And he never did move again. And it was that to me right there said, okay, wow, what music can do.
Yeah. What you're doing is a gift from God. And I think he gave you the voice so that you could do what he wants you to do with people. And the thing about an extra special entertainer like yourself, Sonny, is you are changing lives of those people sitting in the audience, even if it's just for them to forget their troubles for the day.
That's exactly what they would tell me, these people on the show. They come
just
to me
for an hour or two, they get away from their problems.
Yeah. And I always talk about God, too, and I always tell them, on my shows, I thank him so much for all the blessings and putting me where I am.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll talk some more about that in our next segment.
Sure.
When we come back, Sonny is going to grace us with a song. He promised. Yeah. We'll be back with Santino right after this. Hi, I'm Dale Davidson, host of Las Vegas Tonight. Radio has an enduring place in the heart of America. Sometimes it's music that can enliven your spirit or keep you company when you need some. More often for me, it's just been the right spoken word or two that can quiet my mind and soul. Radio brings me a reassuring word in the quiet of night or a welcoming voice early in the morning as I shake off the night's sleep and find my way into God's purpose for my day. And always, I find the best radio station is the one that brings me the best news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. My favorite radio station is KKVV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still right where it's been for years at 1060 on the AM dial, hovering over Sin City like a gospel airship, broadcasting the good news of the abounding love that Jesus Christ has for every single one of us. No matter who you are or where you live, you can receive God's Word via the KKVV Gospel Airship. Just go to kkvv.com and click on Listen Live. KKVV is using all the tools that God's provided them, like podcasting and video streaming and video on demand, to produce programs that lift up our fellow believers and save the lost. If you feel a calling to speak to others about Jesus Christ on your very own show, pick up the phone and call the station. They'll be happy to tell you how. Call KKVV today at 702-731-5588 or drop them an email at kkvvradio@hotmail.com. Please join me in becoming part of the KKVV family. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. Boy, are we having some kind of fun. Santino's with us. I call him Sonny. He is known as Santino in the world of entertainment, a real hot shot here in Las Vegas. And I say that as a terrific, terrific compliment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about your gift as a singer. We're going to prevail upon you, if you don't mind. And would you grace us with a song?
I sure would. I've never done this without the music, but I will do it.
Little a cappella here.
That's it, yes.
At Budget Productions.
Yeah, I will. Yes. I'm going to sing, I'll try doing, it's The Prayer. And
That's
it's done by Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion.
Oh, yeah, it's a great, great song.
So
wonderful
I
song.
think it's for everybody to just put this in their heart now and think about God.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
just think about all your blessings.
There you go. That's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing.
I pray you'll be all right and watch us where we go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we need our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. La luce che tu dai nel cuore resterai a ricordarci che esterno dentro sera nella mia preghiera quando fede c'è. Meet your final place, guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. Sogniamo al mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza. Ognuno Dio, mano e sol, vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che tu dai nel desiderio che a ognuno trovi amore esterno dentro sera. Let this be our prayer when we need a way. Meet your final place, guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. Nella fede che hai acceso noi, sento che ci salve.
Wow. How about that?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sonny, you can sing a little. You can sing a lot, my friend.
Thank you very much.
What a gift.
Thank you.
What a wonderful gift
It is. It is. It's and everybody, they always ask me, oh, boy, you must have went and did all these schooling and no, the only schooling I had was always look up there because that's where it came to school.
Yeah. How old were you when you knew you could sing?
When I knew I could sing, 11.
11 years
11.
old. That's when you started doing Italian weddings, right?
I started doing Italian. Do you want to know the story on that one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
yeah.
So that one is a good one. We were at an Italian function every year they had a New Year's party.
Okay.
So, and my dad always was crazy about me playing music. You know, he was always
proud of you.
Pushing me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually, here's a story that you guys don't know. I forgot to tell you before. I actually started on accordion.
Oh, did you really?
Every Italian kid had to have that accordion. You know. So
I grew up in Cleveland, and there was one on every corner.
Yeah,
there was an accordion teacher on every corner.
I tried to forget it, but you see, it came back again. So, so we were at this function, and it was a New Year's party, and the band didn't show up.
Oh boy!
Something happened, and they couldn't show up. And then the guy went to my dad, the boss of the party. He went to my dad, and he said, "Do you think you can get the kids to go get the instruments and have them at least play?" My dad said, "Oh yeah, that's perfect." He said, "We'll get them to come up here and do it." So he went back to the house. We loaded up all the instruments, and we went up there.
Yeah, yeah.
And we went, and we knew a few songs for Italian people. We were garage band. We Kiss and this kind of music. You know, but I knew from the songs that they would sing to me. And you know, C'è la luna mezzo mare, mamma mia mi mare dare. You know, so we started playing those. We started. It was all night long the same song.
They didn't care.
They didn't care. They didn't care. Well, one time we made it into a waltz. One time we made it into a polka. We did all kinds. But I think it was 3 or 4 songs that we knew. But we played it all night, and they paid us. And they paid us good. And for 12 years old, that was good money.
Yeah.
And so
your first paying gig.
Yeah, it was my first. And then we started getting weddings. The people started calling me. They said to my dad, "That guy, put him up there. He could start playing some weddings." And so from there, I started playing the weddings.
That's a great story.
And I went on until 10, 15, no, more than 15 years. Quite a bit. I played the weddings.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's the story of my wedding singing.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Tell me about Mario's song. Tell me what the story behind that.
Mario's song is a very beautiful song. It's not really a story. It's reality. When you're away from your family and you're months at a time, you miss birthdays, you miss this, you miss that, and unfortunately, you also miss deaths that happen in the family.
Right.
Me and my brother-in-law were very, very close. It's my wife's brother,
right,
Mario. He got cancer. I was in Alaska, and I was on a cruise ship doing a cruise, and I couldn't get off the cruise when they told me that it was his last few days.
Wow.
And I tried everything that I could to get off, and we couldn't because we were in the middle of Ketchikan, and I don't remember, it was somewhere, yeah. And
I know
there's no, unless I go with
passage.
a helicopter, I can't get home.
Yeah.
And I said, I have to somehow be there. And I remember Mario telling me like a lot of these things, you know, that every time I go home, he'd tell me, because he's had cancer for a couple of years.
Right, right.
And so I remember what he wanted to say to his wife, what he wanted to say to everybody. So I kind of remember these words, and I said, yeah, the only way I'm going to be there is I'm going to make a song and send it right away.
Yeah.
And have it for his funeral. At least I'm there.
Right.
So I got a whole bunch of guys from the cruise ship, and I had my blessing of my band that was on the cruise ship there with me, and so we recorded it in the room, and then I had nowhere to record my voice, so the only place I could do it was in the bathroom to put up blankets. And
wow.
I did it in the bathroom in this little cubicle, because you know how small they are in the cruise ships.
Sure.
So I recorded it there, and it was all done in 24 hours, written and recorded and sent. And believe it or not, he passed away the next day after I made the song. He had passed, and they had just enough time for that CD to make it back to Canada, and they played it at the wedding, at the funeral.
At the funeral,
and
wow.
It was.
That's very touching.
Yeah. So and I had many people ask me if they could use the song. There was one thing that they did for 9/11, and that was maybe about 10 years ago. They asked me if they could use the song for a memorial thing that they were doing for 9/11, and that.
Oh.
It's a really beautiful song.
That's a divine intervention too, isn't it?
It is.
You know.
It is. And then how everything came to place, and you know, usually put melody to music is difficult too, and then put the words to it. But how it all came, like, God, again, this is how it's going to go.
Yeah. You're a fan of The Purpose-Driven Life.
Yes.
Yeah, and Rick Warren, who one of his people who helped him write that book, is a good friend of mine, and we've had him on the show, Danny Daniels, and it is a remarkable book that has affected millions and millions of people around the world. Tell me what it's done for you and why it means so much to you.
Can I tell you how I got it?
Sure.
Well, we were, again, performing on a cruise in the Caribbean, and I was up on stage, and it was our first night, and these three guys were in a jazz quartet, three older guys. At the end of our show, we went down to the crew mess there, and one of the guitar player came, and literally in tears, and said, I have to give you something. I didn't know this man. I've never met this man.
Right.
And he's hugging me, and he starts hugging me, and he says, I have to give you something, my friend. You are something else. You are very special. I need to give you something. I said, you don't need to give me nothing. I said, if we be friends. No, the next port, I have to give you something. He says, you do something for people, and you have no clue what you're doing. He says, I want to give you something. Well, 3 days later, we were in port in the Bahamas, and he comes knocking on my door, and he shows up with this book. And it's The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren.
Yeah.
And I said, what is it? And he says, you have to read this book, and it's 40 chapters. He says, and you read one chapter every day. Don't miss, because if you're going to miss, don't do it. Don't start.
Yeah.
He says, you have to every day. And my friend, he says, you're going to find your purpose of your life by the time you're done this book, he says.
Wow.
And he says, that's why I'm giving you this book.
Wow.
And I did. I started reading it every night, and they're like 2-3 pages a chapter.
Yeah.
I started reading it, and
You
it's like I'm
meditate
and
on
sometimes you forget because you're on a cruise ship and you're having a party, whatever. And I got to go home. I got to miss it. I'm going to be late. I have to do this, right? And by the end of that 40 days, boy, oh boy, yeah, I really it taught me a lot.
Wow.
Quite a bit.
Sonny, tell me a little bit about your current project. I know you got an album cooking, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about this.
We're working on an album right now, and it's with one of my best friends, Dino Paniccia, which was one of the boys that played with me when I was a kid.
Way back.
Yeah, and
You're friends all this time.
Yeah, we've been super friends, brothers.
Okay, that's great.
And yeah, we're in the middle of doing an album, and hopefully to be released within the next 6 to 8 months. And there's some special songs in there too that are about him.
Oh, that's wonderful. What's the album going to be called? Do you have a title?
I don't have a title yet.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, he'll tell me when he's ready.
Okay, so we'll watch for Santino.
Yes.
Sonny, let me ask you to address your camera, which is this one right here, if you don't mind. We got a couple minutes left in the show, and you were talking about the purpose-driven life and how you found purpose in your life in concert with Jesus. Whatever you feel you want to tell millions of people about the importance of having Christ in your life, please do.
Having Christ in your life is something that there are so many things that happen in your life. Down, up, it's a highway. And if you don't have the Lord beside you to guide you, to help you, and you have to listen to the signs. You have to see the signs. A lot of people, they don't hear it, they don't see it. There are signs. And God is real. God is there. And when you think that God is not there, at your lowest point, when you think that He's not there, believe me, He is there. And if you put your heart and your mind and your soul, let your soul listen, you will see that God really does exist, and you will see that things do work out. Our Lord was carrying a cross, he was teased, he was ridiculed. If he could go through that, what do we go through? So think always of him, what he went through for us. And that's what I've learned in my entire life. And my life hasn't been all up, up, up. There's been a lot of downs, like everybody. But bless the Lord, bless you all. I hope God watches all of you, and never give up.
Thank you. Thank you. Santino Virga.
Thank you, Dale, for having me
Sonny,
here.
thanks for coming on the show.
You bet.
You have an open invitation.
Oh, I'll come back.
Please come back.
Yeah.
And we'll talk some more about your album. And I know you got a couple more stories we didn't get to.
Yes, we do.
At least a couple.
Lots.
Yeah, and welcome back to Las Vegas. We're glad you're here for a spell.
Nice to be home.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice to be home.
Sonny's a wonderful man, and we so appreciate having him on the show. And as I try to remember to say each and every episode of Las Vegas Tonight, when it comes to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, please walk with him. God bless you.
Across the ages, humanity is often gathered in prayer, especially in times of crisis and need. It's a natural response, but who are we speaking to? Is prayer merely a platitude or emotional cliche?
Yahoo!
Or is there a God on the other end of the line? And if so, can we speak to him? And what is he saying? What exactly is prayer? Theologian John Piper describes prayer as intentionally conveying a message to God. He also outlines 3 main approaches to prayer, which each depend on how you view God. If your perspective is that God is in everything and everything is God, including you, me, the sunrise, the humpback whale, the smoke lightly wafting from a sun, well, you get the picture. Prayer from this perspective is all about connecting with the divinity within us and around us. The only problem is that if we are part of God, prayer can feel like a one-sided conversation. If you feel like God exists, but he's distant and unapproachable, then prayer can become about developing special techniques or higher levels of devotion and holiness in order for our words to reach God's ears.
Hello?
Or we just give up trying. However, when you read the Christian Bible, God shows himself not to be distant or silent, but to be personable, accessible, and a creator who speaks. In the creation story, we see him literally speak each created thing into existence, as if to open an external conversation with his creation.
Howdy.
And throughout the Bible, he consistently speaks to humanity. So if God speaks,
Ciao.
how do we speak to him? A big part of God's conversation with humanity was the person of Jesus, who God sent to earth as the human manifestation of himself.
Thank you very much.
So that he could talk to us directly. The Bible literally refers to Jesus as the Word, God's Word. And he gave a direct answer when his friends asked him about how to speak to God. Jesus says prayer is simply and honestly talking to God. If something is on your mind, if there's a situation where you don't know what to do, you can talk to God about it. You don't have to pray in a church, and you don't have to sound religious. God loves you and wants you to be real with him. You can pray out loud. You can pray silently. He listens wherever and whenever. So how do we hear God? God's voice is described in the Bible as a still, small voice. Many people hear back from God by quieting the noise around them and pausing to listen. Or by reading the Bible, which God also calls his Word. The more you talk with someone, the more you get to know who they are. The God who speaks has started the conversation. If you haven't spoken in a while, why don't you try to pick it up again? It could change your life.
Come on and shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with your host, Dale Davidson. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of our show. We so appreciate your loyalty to our program. To keep Las Vegas Tonight on the air, please go to our website, vegassaints.org, and click the Donate button. To send a check or money order, please make it out to Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries and mail it to 9030 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. To suggest a guest to appear on the show or any other suggestions or questions, write to Dale at dalewdavidson@yahoo.com or call him at 702-480-3989.
Shine, Las Vegas, shine.